So what are we talking about?
Asset.
Asset.
And liability.
And liability. So usually when you use these terms, assets and liability, you talk about money or investments. You know what an asset is? In money? Something that earns you money. So you might consider, so you own stock in a corporation. If that corporation is growing and making money, the stock is growing, it's worth more. So that stock is an asset, it's making you money. But say you own stock in a company that's going down, it's depreciating the stock values, they're not making money, they're losing money. So that's a liability because it costs you money. Let's say you have a house, you own this house, and every year the house is worth more and more money. Since you own that house, it's an asset to you because it's worth money. Say you own a car, that car is always breaking down, it drinks a lot of gas, it's leaking oil, you always have to spend money to put in it. So that's a liability. So we're going to talk about something that's worth more than money. There's lots of things that are worth more than money, but we're going to talk about your attention and how you spend the energy of your brain. How do you spend your time and your energy? That's where you divert your attention to. So how could you have an asset for your attention? What are things that could increase the value? You say you spend your attention somewhere that increases your value.
Job?
No.
No?
Not a job. No. A job, you're spending your time in exchange for money. It's not an asset. You're selling your labor. You're selling your work. You're selling your hours for dollars. It's just a trade. It's not an asset. You can have a contract that's an asset, and this contract is going to continually make you money. So that contract could be an asset, but just having a job, it's not an asset. What do I have written here? Asset, something, this is for your attention. Attention asset, something like a habit or a choice that adds value, knowledge, and energy into you. So what did we just do? We worked out.
Yeah.
How do you feel after you work out?
Energized.
You feel energized? You feel like, oh, now I'm moving, so I'm going to stay moving. So that's an asset. If you have the habit of exercising every day, that's an asset for your attention. So you're putting attention into something that actually gives you more energy, more knowledge, more self-esteem. Or reading. Say you're reading a book and you're learning things. Say you're reading a series of books and so you're learning vocabulary words. You're learning new ideas and concepts. So this is a way to spend your attention that actually opens your mind and gives you more knowledge, more energy. Liability. An attention liability. It's a habit or choice that takes away value, knowledge, or energy from you, or spending time and energy on something that does not add value to you is a net negative. It equals out to negative. Because if you're spending your time and energy on something that has no reward, you're actually losing time, losing energy. You're losing knowledge. You could have gained knowledge in another area that instead you used it for something like mindless entertainment. Like that video game where you just jump over the blocks and you just keep jumping over the blocks and it's an infinite tunnel and you're running through that tunnel and just jumping over the blocks. So you're spending your time and your attention and your energy on this thing, but you're getting nothing back out of it. So that's a net negative. So say you're playing a game where it challenges you, you have to read, you have to solve problems. So that could be the same way like reading a book. It could be the same as reading a novel. It's maybe as valuable or less valuable than reading like nonfiction, but novels can be very valuable also. So yeah, like mindless entertainment would be an attention liability. It's putting you in a deficit. You're spending your time and energy on something that doesn't return any value to you. So what is asset?
Can I use that?
Sure.
An example of an asset?
Yeah, we talked about some examples. You can use those examples as long as you can explain them.
As long as I can explain them. It adds value, knowledge. What gives you knowledge?
Reading, experiences. So say you go outside and you're digging up the garden, right?
Oh yeah, I did that yesterday.
Right. Did you find anything back there that maybe you didn't know was back there? Or did you learn anything while you were actually digging? Maybe you find some beetles.
I found some roly-polies.
Some roly-polies.
I also found lots of ants in the sticks.
Lots of ants.
I didn't know they lived in sticks.
Did you learn how to do anything? Maybe did you learn a way how to shovel or kind of? So you can also gain knowledge and experience, or knowledge and value and energy from experiences. It doesn't have to be reading. The things that you experience, you know firsthand that it's real. If you read something, it may or may not be real. It's concepts. But if you experience something, you know for firsthand, from your own experience, that it's real. So you can give you a history book, and I can give you a novel, like a fiction. And how are you really going to know the difference? Besides, if this nonfiction, if this history has an authority behind it, so you're just supposed to believe that it's real. Or it could be a novel, and it says fiction, so you say, oh, it's fiction. Well, how do you know that the history is not also a fiction? Except for the only thing that it has an authority behind it. If you weren't there, you don't really know. So from history, it's just as valuable as the concepts that you learn from a novel. So if you're reading a novel and it teaches you these concepts about honesty, or critical thinking, or self-determination, getting things done on your own, those concepts could be the same concepts that you learn in history. The history doesn't necessarily mean more than a work of fiction, unless you were there and you actually experienced it. You really don't. You don't know. You're just learning concepts from a book, but you could learn those same concepts and maybe more effective if you actually experience it firsthand for yourself. Like, you might read those books. Do they have anything about like never give up or something like that? The books that you read.
The books that I read?
Arsenic for Tea. Is there somebody in the story who has to do something hard and challenging, and they want to quit, but then they don't quit?
Yeah.
And then but they continue.
It's like solving mysteries.
Do they have anybody in the book who just quit and gave up and just went home and cried and just gave up?
No.
No, because people don't write books about people like that. You don't write no books about quitters.
But they wanted to.
They wanted to quit, but they didn't. So how did you feel the other day when we were doing that workout and you wanted to quit, but then you didn't? Did you feel like something? Did you feel like an accomplishment? You didn't feel any accomplishment when you did that hard exercise?
No, it wasn't really that hard.
Oh, it wasn't that hard?
No.
So we gotta go harder.
What?
Y'all heard that. It wasn't that hard. So we have to go harder so it can be challenging. It makes you want to quit. But you remember, nobody writes storybooks about quitters. They write storybooks about people who did very hard things and didn't give up. So remember that. Next time we were running through the rain, this morning we were running, And we were running through the rain, and you said, I want to go home. And I said, no, keep going. We're going to the top of the hill. And you started walking like this. And I said, the slower you go, the longer we're going to be out here in the rain. Didn't I?
Peaceful.
And I said that?
Yeah.
And you wanted to quit, and you wanted to go home, and I said, no, you can't. You can't quit. You can't go home. And you said, oh, I want to quit. I'm going home. And then I said, no, okay, we're going back to the top of the hill. And we had to go farther because you wanted to quit. Okay, so that's my TED Talk.